Global. I'm Gaurie Dwivedi. Before we get on to the big story that we are tracking, Prime Minister Modi in Poland, let's get you the headlines. Prime Minister Modi lands in Poland for a historic visit. It's the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Poland in 45 years. The focus is on trade and defense and healthcare between Poland and India. Bangladesh's BNP asks India to extradite former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Hand over Hasina for trial, says Bangladesh's BNP. A bus carrying Pakistani pilgrims to Iraq crashes in Iran. The bus crash kills at least 28 Pakistani pilgrims. Ukraine attacks Moscow in the largest drone attack. 11 Ukrainian drones are shot down by Russian air defenses. The big story on India Global today. Prime Minister Modi has landed in Poland. His visit comes as the two countries mark 70 years of diplomatic ties. Besides being high on symbolism and doubling down on the civilizational connect between India and Poland, Prime Minister Modi's visit will also show and lays importance on the European continent as far as the Indian strategic and foreign policy is concerned. The visit will also focus on trade as well as security and strategic issues as well. There is a lot of potential in Poland-India ties, both from a business as well as a security perspective. They've already grown in multiples in the last decade, and a lot more could be done going forward. IT is a big standout, given that Poland offers Indian IT companies English-speaking, low-cost, near-shore options. And given the shortage of doctors and medical staff in Poland, the Prime Minister's visit could also culminate possibility into an agreement, paving the way for more medical professionals from India to go to Poland. On the security side, India appointed a defense attaché to Poland last year. EU has also done the same, indicating that this partnership has many layers and it could develop that in the next couple of years as well. We have colleagues on ground covering every aspect of Prime Minister Modi's visit, first to Poland and then later on to Ukraine. Let me first get in my colleague Umar Shankar Singh, who's spoken, in fact, he has spoken to Indian diaspora there. Let's get that conversation up first.
Prime Minister Modi is coming to Poland, and it's a first Prime Minister visit in last 45 years. And here we have with us some Indian diaspora members. Mr. J.J. Singh, what do you do? Can you introduce yourself?
J.J. Singh, I'm actually having my own travel agency and residing in Poland for last 35 years.
And what about you, sir?
I'm Raju Sabnani. I'm here since last 25 years. I'm bringing import goods from all over Asia and doing distribution within Europe.
And what about you?
So my name is Rajesh Bhojwani. I'm here in Poland for the last 32 years and I run a consumer electronic business.
So how you people are excited after you got to know that Prime Minister Modi is coming here and this is the first visit after 45 years?
So a visit of this level has no bounds. So the excitement is paramount. You know, and the position India has today in the world is something we've not seen, not just us, global Indians haven't seen in a long time. So that time is already there where Poland has stood up also and recognizes the might of our country. And, you know, our Prime Minister arriving here is not something small. So, I mean, the excitement is paramount, not only with the Indians, but also the Polish.
Okay. So, all of you living here for more than 2 or 3 decades, so you haven't seen any Indian Prime Minister visiting Poland. No. So, what's your feeling about that?
Well, you know, it's a very positive feeling, definitely, with the stature of Mr. Modi ji, you know. And coming to country, Poland here, you know, after such a long time, first Prime Minister, it's a big thing. This will for sure, you know, take the bilateral relations and people-to-people relation to a different level. Because Poland sees also, if the Prime Minister Modi ji is visiting, it is something important. So it will reciprocal in the trade and people-to-people relationship.
And what is your expectation, how it is going to help in your business?
I think first of all, Prime Minister Modi has such an aura. Meeting him is already a very big excitement among all the Indian community and even in the local Polish community. They want to see Prime Minister Modi. They have heard a lot about him. And when he visits here, when the government to government, the business people meetings will be there, I'm sure that lots of positive things will come out from that.
All right, that was, of course, a conversation that Uma Shankar Singh was having with members of the Indian diaspora. Let's also get in my colleague Vishnu Som, who is in Kiev, to take us through what could be the highlights of Prime Minister Modi's visit, a short visit, but a very important visit in Poland. And then, of course, he moves on to Ukraine. Take it away, Vishnu. Fill us in with what all can we expect.
Well, I'm reporting right now from the heart of Kiev in Ukraine. This is the Maidan Square. And the Maidan Square is where, as you can see, there are thousands of Ukrainian flags behind me. There are photographs of Ukrainian soldiers who have lost their lives very, very sadly in this war, which has claimed tens of thousands of lives on either side. And this is very much the heart, as I said, of Ukraine. It's poignant to come back over here after 2 years. I was here 2 years ago when the war started, and at that stage the loss of lives wasn't quite what it is at this stage, and you can actually see it over here. But I can also tell you that there is a huge sense of anticipation ahead of the visit of Prime Minister Modi. He is in Poland. It's a very, very important visit as India tries to lift the relationship with Poland, but he does come over here. It's going to be a short visit. As he crosses over from Poland to Kiev, he'll be meeting the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. He is coming over here on the basis of an invitation of President Zelensky. Will there be some sort of an out-of-the-box solution that Prime Minister Modi might have? Is there anything that can be done to bring an end to this war, which has cost not just the region, but the entire world so much? India has always spoken about a negotiated settlement, a diplomatic solution, and also on the importance of maintaining the territorial integrity of all nations. Will something actually move with that in mind? That's what we're all waiting to see.
There are a lot of expectations in terms of whether Prime Minister Modi could really ensure that a possible peace solution or some sort of a solution could be worked out. That is not the official word that has come in as far as this visit of Prime Minister Modi, but that's the expectation as he moves from Poland to Ukraine. As Vishnu was saying, there are several aspects to what all this visit could be. One is the strategic, defense and trade aspects with Poland. Poland, remember, is as far as the far east of the NATO, and very important. There has been a military attaché that's also been appointed. So it indicates that this could be a very nuanced relationship for India going forward. Then, of course, Poland is also the staunchest supporters of Ukraine. And as Prime Minister Modi heads to Ukraine as well later in the week, could there be a possible breakthrough remains to be seen. As I said, the official word is that this is not meant for a peace formula sort of a visit, but could that be a possible outcome remains to be seen. All right, let's get in. I guess this evening on India Global, Dr. Swasti Rao, Associate Fellow of Manohar Parkar Institute, joins me live. Good to have you, Swasti, on the show. And we'll also try and get in Ruslan Bortnik as well, Director of Ukrainian Institute of Politics. But Swasti, let me come to you first, that this is a very important visit. We've talked about the fact that it's taken, more than 4 decades for an Indian Prime Minister to be at Poland. But in your assessment, how do you see the India-Poland relationship now evolving from here on?
Well, a very good evening to you, Gaurie. And of course, we are all seeing these very heartwarming gestures, from different Polish office bearers and also the Indian diaspora out there. And also, a lot of my colleagues with whom I work very closely. So I think they're very, very happy about Prime Minister being there. And you can sense that palpable excitement in the air that it took basically 40 years for an Indian Prime Minister to go to Poland. Now, with respect to your question, I am extremely hopeful of the visit because, like you know, that India opened a new defense wing in Poland in 2023, and we have a brigadier rank officer in the defense wing. And so, of course, the first thing that you will expect is that there would be some announcements in the defense sector. And when I say the defense sector, I essentially mean two things, Gaurie. One is the defense industry cooperation, by which I mean, perhaps modernization of the T-72 tanks for India, because Ukraine, or Poland has donated all of its Soviet-era equipment to Ukraine. So, you could see that kind of a defense industry cooperation. Then not many people know that WB Electronics, which is a private player in the Polish defense industry sector, already has its presence in India. So perhaps there could be ways to sort of exemplify and maximize, the private defense industry actors in Poland in India. So you could have defense industry developments.
Right.
You could also have more developments on, for example, joint exercises, on special forces joint exercises, etc., which is another part of military cooperation. And the second vertical that I'm very hopeful about, Gaurie, is basically the infrastructure, connectivity, those kind of projects, because Poland is also going to chair the 3Cs initiative, which is a group of about 14 East European countries that are linked by railroads and ship links and sea links and, and all that.
Okay.
So I think India would be interested in reaching out to that market, because so far, our exports go via Germany. So it's basically Rotterdam and Hamburg. And
Right.
these two ports are quite saturated. So that would be perhaps my other big ticket expectation from Prime Minister's visit there.
Okay.
Yeah, back to you.
Right. Ruslan Bortnik, Director, Ukrainian Institute of Politics, also joins me on the broadcast. Ruslan, thank you so much for taking out the time. The question is that in your assessment, what would you expect to be the key takeaways of this important meeting, this important visit? We've spoken about the fact that it's taken 45 years for the Indian Prime Minister to be there. But now that he's there, it's got the fillip to probably take the India-Polish ties to the next level. What could it be? Could it be defense? Could it be trade? Could it be pacts in terms of people-to-people connect, increasing that more? What could it be?
We are looking for significant political and economical changes. At the first, we are looking for the acceleration of political Ukrainian-Indian cooperation. And this visit is extremely important for our bilateral negotiation, because we have such kind of a bad taste after the Indian's Prime Minister visit to Moscow. In the day of that visit, I want to remind you, the Russian rockets struck the childhood hospital in Kiev. So this visit is very important to make our
Okay, Ruslan, just to clarify,
much better,
India
like
does
it was
maintain
before.
a completely independent foreign policy. Prime Minister Modi went to Russia for India's strategic interests, and keeping those in mind, he's now, of course, in Poland and later on in Ukraine as well. But go ahead, make your point about the India-Polish ties.
And Ruslan, or are you addressing to me?
Yes. Go ahead, finish your point. Yeah.
And so we are waiting for the acceleration of political relations between our country, and also we are looking for India, Ukrainian side looking for India like an maybe main connector to the global south. For Ukraine, it's extremely important the position of global south countries, and especially in India, even taking into account that China, another global south country, is much closer to the Russia now.
Okay.
So it's much difficult for us to make this negotiation. So we're looking this acceleration, and we are looking for acceleration of economical ties, because we have a lot of concrete questions in economical cooperation. Food and agriculture questions, engines for Indian warships, a lot of questions which could be resolved during this visit and could accelerate our economical cooperation.
Swasti, talk to us about the balancing act. Part of it is what Ruslan also mentioned, but the larger issue as far as, and the very positive aspect as far as, how India has been able to successfully balance its foreign policy in what may look like conflicting interests. So talk to us about that. How does that pan out?
Sure, Gaurie, that's a very good question. And I was just talking to, I was just explaining this bit to very recently somebody that I think in the West for a very long time, there existed a bit of a confusion and a bit of a misunderstanding, actually, I would say, about India's neutral position. Okay. So India has always maintained that India's neutrality is not a passive neutrality, it is an active neutrality. India is also a center of humanitarian aid. India has sent about 16 consignments of humanitarian aid. India looks forward to playing a very proactive role in the reconstruction of Ukraine whenever it happens, and of course in the with larger collaboration with its European partners. India, from the Indian side and the Ukrainian side, there have been more than 40 times of recorded official conversations, whether it's been through phone calls, at the sidelines of different summits or in-person visits, all the way now that the Prime Minister will be there soon. So what I'm saying is that in the West, I'm sorry for this background noise. I'm sorry, but okay. Okay, so maybe what I'm trying to say is that it is a very good opportunity for India to actually give a positive understanding to the West of where its neutrality is coming from. And the fact that India has an independent foreign policy when it comes to having its ties with Russia. There's a different set of national interests that drives it there. And there's a different set of national interests driving it with countries like Ukraine or Poland.
Right. There are no binaries as far as India's foreign policy outlook and position is concerned. That's the larger point. And Ruslan, let me ask you this, that strategically Poland is the eastern flank of the NATO. And how do you see ties from a defense point of view, defense technology point of view now growing between India and Eastern Europe?
I think India now is looking for another partner in military technology sphere except of Russia, because his historical ties, we understand why it happened. India has a huge cooperation with Russia in military sphere, and now India looking for another cooperation, for another partners in this sphere. And so Poland could be such a partner, also Ukraine could be such a partner, because we developed during the war a very prominent technologies, military technologies, special drones and so on. So India is trying to find this balance to be neutral, to be a non-alignment country at the same time, to have a approach, to have connections to the different technologies, markets, inventions, and so on. So Poland is very important, and Ukraine is very important for this visit. And this visit shows for us that India's role in Europe is growing up, because India wasn't in Europe very long time. So it's very important visit.
Engagement with Europe is increasing, and as the leader of the global south, India's voice matters, its position matters, and this visit, of course, assumes greater significance in the backdrop of that. Dr. Swasti Rao and Ruslan Bortnik, thanks so much for speaking to me on India Global. On that note, we slip into a very short break. We come back on the other side with the news regarding new immigration rules. Why are countries tightening them? Why is Australia and New Zealand now coming up with stricter visa rules? What does it mean for you? Stay with us. We come back to tell you that.
We know that living with diabetes can make daily life a challenge, and we're here to help.
I felt very low with the diagnosis and very lonely as well, and embarrassed.
I think people don't necessarily realise the impact that being diabetic can have on you, and the amount of extra decisions you have to make a day through carb counting every single thing you eat.
Day-to-day living with diabetes is really difficult. So Diabetes UK has made my life easier every day.
If you're struggling with the everyday challenges diabetes can bring, maybe it's time to become a Diabetes UK member. Call 0800 035 7601 or go online to become a member. And for just £3 a month, you'll get a welcome pack and a practical guide tailored to your type of diabetes, and a copy of Balance magazine 4 times a year.
Balance magazine has been very good in giving me tips to manage my diabetes on a day-to-day basis.
Plus regular email updates with the latest diabetes news and special discounts.
One of the things I was recommended to do was exercise. What motivated me was my love of dance, and I got that back.
Join a community that really understands. Call 0800 035 7601 or go online to become a member for just £3 a month.
I would recommend Diabetes UK to anyone with diabetes. Join up, become part of a community, get that support that you need.
People like to say, "It is what it is." And that's true, until it isn't. Remember before AI when you couldn't do this?
Watch this video and list the authors she quoted.
Oh, that's smart. What else can it do?
Find me the top spots for tagine in Marrakesh and put them on a map.
Nice. Remember when all phones pretty much did the same stuff? Until they didn't. Google Pixel 9.
Ever wondered if the Italian lakes are as bellissimo as their reputation? Or if traditional Swiss fondue really tastes better in the foothills of the Alps? Ever dreamt of wandering off the tourist trails to get a real taste of local life? Or what it's like to explore Europe knowing every detail has been expertly taken care of? Wonder no more on our European tours. Choose Signature for smaller groups and enhanced experiences. Book today with Riviera Travel and stay forever curious.
Now I'm 50, I want to make sure I've all the tools I need to look after my lot. And I've done enough waiting around. That's why I'm with Cover Today, the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years for full cover, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card. Don't wait around to look after your loved ones. Get Cover Today.
To find out more, call our friendly UK team or visit covertoday.co.uk.
With me, Gaurie Dwivedi. Now, for students wishing to go to New Zealand and Australia, there's some bad news coming in, which is that both countries have now tightened their visa rules. They've become more stringent, with now being a steep increase as far as student visa fees is concerned. They've doubled it, in fact, in New Zealand and Australia, along with a whole host of other changes that have now been made. Besides the fact that visa fee has now doubled from New Zealand dollars $375 to $750. Financial requirements have also increased for students, essentially making it tougher in terms of immigration rules. Also, English proficiency required for low-skilled jobs as well. Remember, in the last 8-9 months, both Australia and New Zealand have taken steps to make the immigration route tougher for students as well as for other categories, and this is the latest step in the same direction. The larger question is, why is it happening? What is the trend indicative of, and what do Indians do now, and how much of a dent is it going to be for Indian students and their prospects? To talk on that, let's get in immigration expert Rohit Sharma joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Sharma, thank you so much for taking out the time. Some of the rules that have now been tightened do indicate that as far as the immigration route is concerned, countries are now making it tougher. In your assessment, what's the impact for Indian students, specifically for Australia and New Zealand, where these latest changes have just come in?
Yeah, in fact, thank you very much for getting on the show. As regard these changes are concerned, they are definitely going to impact. The figures are there to speak about. What actually also has happened in the last 2 years, specifically, both Australia and New Zealand has record immigration. So record immigration of students, landing up in Australia and New Zealand. So against the kind of demand they have, the supply obviously was pretty huge. Now to address that, they are tightening up the rules in terms of IELTS. We talk about increasing the fee as well. So Indian students will definitely, most of the students who are looking forward to Australia were beginning to look towards New Zealand. Now with Australia, also with New Zealand also, increasing the points, then obviously they will start looking at different destination as well. But still, Australia and New Zealand offer very quality courses. There will be always a segment of students that would like to go there and, make their respective career.
Yes. Mr. Sharma, can you just keep your video frame the way you had kept it originally and not move it? Okay, and let me then also ask you that, there's now a larger trend that's taking place, whether it is US, whether it's UK, Australia, New Zealand. These routes are being made more difficult, or the route is now being made stringent with tighter norms coming in. There's a broader trend that's now happening, isn't it? Across geographies. Mr. Sharma, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
This is now a global trend, isn't it? US, UK, Australia, New Zealand. There's now a trend that's happening, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a trend that is happening, but that is what I'm saying. There is always against the expectation of these countries. About on the number of students in terms of their demand. The supply is always there. So yes, the trend is now beginning to happen where these countries are also looking at more of these the cost and other factors are being taken care by the students only, not by the local taxpayer. That they are not funding these students through the local taxpayers of those countries. So all these things are therefore being happening. It certainly impacts, and it is not just going to impact the students, it is also going to impact the universities there as well, because they also at large run by these students. India
Exactly.
continues to be one country, after China, which is which has the maximum number of students landing in in New Zealand after China, basically. So India continues to be a huge resource for these countries.
Indeed. As an expert, if there's one piece of advice, caution, or guidance that you would like to give to students wanting to visit these and study at these universities, what would that be?
Yeah, one aspect that now students have to be very clear about is that if they are going for studies in these countries, they have to be very specific of the reason for what they want to study. If they are just looking forward to study in these countries from the perspective of migration, right, that they will study there for a couple of years and eventually will take a residency of that country, then they really need to have a relook of their plans. So accordingly, they should budget their education because if they are thinking from the perspective of taking a long tenureship in those countries after studying, because these countries are even curtailing the work visa standings of post the study of a student there in countries. So they have to budget their plans towards education purely from the perspective of education only, nothing more.
All right, remains to be seen what could be the kind of mechanism that some of these countries come up with to deal with immigration, but at the same time also address labor shortages in their home countries as well. Thank you so much, Rohit Sharma, for decoding that important story for us. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Global. Thanks so much for watching.